Asia-Pacific chief economist over at the research firm IHS Markit in Singapore, and he joins us now live. Rajiv, all right, with 4 hours notice, Narendra Modi comes out and says that no one can leave their home for 3 weeks. This means every state, every district, every lane, every village basically under strict lockdown. This is the most severe step taken in a country fight against the coronavirus pandemic. There's obviously going to be some serious challenges here, aren't there?
I think it's an extremely difficult situation, particularly in a country where there's so many low-income households and many people on the poverty line or below the poverty line who are extremely vulnerable. Many of these people rely on daily wages to survive. So the huge challenge for these people under lockdown is how to survive, how to get enough food for their families from day to day, especially because it's a 21-day period. So although from the government point of view, this lockdown is very important to prevent this pandemic spreading in India, particularly because India has a very poor healthcare system, they fear that they will not be able to manage an escalating pandemic. On the other hand, the huge challenge now is, how to help the vulnerable who are unable to find the money from day to day for their basic needs like food and things like rice. They simply won't have enough food to survive for 21 days.
This is obviously going to affect human psychology, and it's said that human psychology is a driving force in terms of the markets. How do you think this is going to affect it? Because the country is already experiencing slow growth rates, and its economy is not running on full steam.
Well, we've seen many emerging markets have taken a severe battering on their equity markets in recent days as the pandemic has increased globally in terms of its impact on many countries around the world, and because investors globally are fleeing to safe haven assets, and that means they're taking money out of growth assets such as Indian equity markets and other Asian equity markets. So we're seeing this flight away from emerging market equities, and that's triggering a escalating downturn in the financial markets. And of course, the lockdown itself will be very negative in terms of the overall growth outlook. India was already struggling to keep growth, round about the 5% mark this year, even before the pandemic. Now with this lockdown for at least 21 days and perhaps longer, this will have a very negative effect on growth in the month ahead and could be a significant dent to overall growth this year. Much will depend on how long the lockdown continues and also whether the pandemic takes hold despite the lockdown. And if we see consumers afraid to go out, then the outlook for economic growth could be substantially downgraded in India this year.
Okay. Rajiv Biswas, thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World. I do appreciate it.